We finally got a decision by the city of Montreal with respect to that judge's decision going back about a month ago on systemic racism being part of and racial profiling being part of the police's issues here, which involve the city obviously as well. Don Kagan-Fleming from our newsroom provided this update. Take a listen to this.
The decision says the city must pay victims of racial profiling between $2,500 and $5,000 each, and that systemic racism does exist within the police force. City officials say they want to make the payments to every victim individually, but that part of the decision about potential leftover money is the issue. They're appealing the fact that if not enough victims come forward to claim the full amount, what's left would go to lawyers of the Black Coalition of Quebec and the Quebec government's Collective Action Assistance Fund. The Red Coalition's Joël de Bellefeuille says even with this appeal, this is a big win in the battle against systemic racism.
Fantastic opportunity for Mayor Plante as well as the whole city admin to really address this issue, take the bull by the horns, and really listen.
The city says it doesn't want money from this case going to the CAQ government, which doesn't recognize the existence of systemic racism.
Interesting take there, especially at the end, right, about the CAQ and the premier who has often said systemic racism does not exist, where this judge's ruling says it municipally it does. Gracia Kasoki-Katahwa is the mayor of the NDG Cote-des-Neiges borough, but she's also Montreal's executive committee member responsible for the fight against racism and systemic discrimination. She's on the line. Mayor, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Let me begin because there's some things here that I'm not 100% sure about. Number one, the decision when it came down, I remember there being a newspaper column suggesting, you know what, the city should just leave this decision as is and not appeal the decision. Then I spoke to the mayor, to Valérie Plante, about a week or 10 days ago and brought this up before the city had decided whether it would or it wouldn't. And she said they were studying it and would decide what to do. Mm-hmm. So now it seems the city has said, okay, we will go along with some of this, but not all of this. Can you explain which part you are going along with and which part you're not going along with?
Yeah, so it's really important here to acknowledge, that the decision that was made by Judge Poulain last month is historic. We've been saying for a long time, like since 2020, the mayor said there is racism and systemic discrimination at the City of Montreal and at the SPVM, and there is racial profiling, and the victims should be indemnized. But we were saying that politically. Now there's a court ruling that is confirming that. So this is a good news, and that is what we agree with. So we agree with the fact that we need to compensate Mr. Alexandre Lamontagne, which is the lead plaintiff with the Black Coalition. We agree with the fact that there's like 4 groups that need to be compensated, and we agree with that, as long as we do an individual compensation. And that's why we are appealing, because for one of the subgroup, the court is saying that we need to do a collective compensation. And as it was just described, that the impact of that is that, yes, we're going to indemnize the victims, but there's millions of dollars that are going to go to the lawyers and to the Quebec government, to a fund that they have at the Ministère de la Justice. And I don't think that should happen. I think we should make sure that the money goes directly to the victims.
Okay, so my question is with respect to groups versus personal people who will be involved in this. The ruling to the original victim, which was $5,000, left the window open, as I understand it, to anyone else who could have been racially profiled to go and say, hey, I'm in this situation as well. I want my money too. Will all those people who are involved, will they have had to file a police report? What will they have to prove that they were part of this?
I understand your question, and it's really important. So what needs to happen now is that we need to sit with the Black Coalition and the judge and determine how people will be able to come and get their money. And the judge really described 4 distinct groups. One of them being, for example, that if you were racially profiled between, there's a 6-time period that your data were taken, that there was, no arrestation, that it was not during the eclipse, the eclipse operation of the police, and it was not after a call of 911. You need to be compensated. That's an example. So we're going to have to sit back with the different parties and determine how in the operation that's going to happen. So we don't have those details yet. But one thing's for sure, and one thing that guided the discussion and our decision is that we want to make sure that even if we appeal, that it doesn't become the burden of proving that somebody went through racial profiling is not on the victim. This is really important for us and the appeal doesn't doesn't have that effect. So we want the process to be as simple as possible for the people to come and be compensated as described by the judgment.
All right, you mentioned something a minute ago that kind of made my ears stick up for a sec. You mentioned the exceptions being, you mentioned as well the anti-gang squad, right? The Eclipse squad.
Yeah.
If you were in a location where the Eclipse squad happened to visit, even though you're not a gang member or weren't accused of being one, but were somehow involved in terms of they asked you for ID or whatever else, and you felt you were being racially profiled, would you be able to or not just because it was the Eclipse squad?
So this is really the ruling of the judge here that I'm describing. So she determined, she put those characteristics as elements that describes who could be compensated. And this is really clear in the judgment. So if you are included in those 4 categories or 4 subgroups that the judge decided,
I see.
You are going to be compensated. But how it's going to happen, where you have to go, this needs to be discussed still with the Ligue des Noirs and the judge. But our intention as a city is to make it, we don't want to put the burden on the victims. We want it to be clear and it doesn't, that it's not difficult for the victims to come and claim their money.
So for someone who might have gone, who might consider themselves a victim of racial profiling, and they went to CRAR, for example, to plead their case, to let people know, to tell the public, would they automatically be covered because they had gone to CRAR?
It depends. It depends. You need to fit in those 4 groups that was ruled by the judge. So I cannot tell you right now. It really depends, and that's why we're going to have clear elements for everyone to know. If you had this, and that, you could come at this place and be compensated.
And
so it really depends on each case. It's not because you feel or you know that you went to racial profiling that you're going to be compensated. You need to enter some criteria, and that was ruled by the judge. It's not our decision.
Where would people find out what those criteria are?
So that step didn't happen yet. We need to sit with the Black Coalition and the judge to determine that mechanism to come and get their money.
I see.
Yeah.
So no one's
the step of today was really to decide about the appeal and the partial, and we decided to go in partial appeal.
And do you have any idea roughly how many people we're talking about here? I mean, there must be a number, a rough estimate of how many people might come forward.
We don't have an exact number, but
is it hundreds? Is it thousands?
It's probably thousands, but we don't have an exact number of the people who went to racial profiling and are fit into those 4 subgroups.
Okay.
But for us, this is not an issue. Meaning, it's not an issue. It's not a question of money. So when we're gonna there's four groups of people that could come and get their money. We want them to get their money. It's not a question of money. It's really a question to make sure that money goes directly to the victims.
Okay. I will tell people, by the way, that according to data provided by the city, right, nearly 40,000, if that's correct, 40,000 arrests of racialized people during the period, which could, depending on who gets paid and who doesn't, could cost the city as much as $170 million. Is that accurate?
That is what was advanced by the Black Coalition. That's what they said. It's not something that comes from the city.
Okay. How long is this going to take to get done, do you think?
So we want it to be done as soon as possible. So now that we are appealing the judgment, we need to go as soon as possible and sit with the Black Coalition and the judge and start determining how people are going to be able to come and get their money.
All right. Mayor, thank you so much. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you very much.
Gracia Kasoki-Katahwa, Mayor of NDG Cote-des-Neiges, but in this particular case, in her role as Montreal's executive committee member responsible for the fight against racism and systemic discrimination. So a win, as I think I heard Joël de Bellefeuille say, a win either way, the city acknowledging it will pay. The question now is, what is the methodology that's going to be used to determine whether you're liable or in line to be paid or not? That's still not there. That'll take, I imagine, some time to figure out.